Good morning. Hands today's pocket sevens, and I just played this hand. So we have a raise by the button. Small blind folds, and it's on me. Unfortunately, the button's a new player at the table. I don't have anything on him. This is his third hand. So all that I can do is just kind of assume that he's playing something similar to what most of the other players play. So, if we say give him a fairly wide range here. Maybe not overly wide, but at least 30%. At least 30%. Maybe king 9, queen 9, that's 35. Maybe not those. Maybe 10-9 off. That's probably wide range. I thought about raising with my sevens when we have big blind versus the button. Our raise first in, our 3-bet stat looks something like this. Our call stat looks something like this. I contemplated raising because I thought maybe he's, raising with a wide range is a steal, and I should be protecting against that steal. And it would be something pretty big. So, we're looking at like raising versus a steal of something like maybe 9s plus, maybe 10s plus. We're probably doing all of the suited aces. If we think he's stealing it, we're probably doing suited. Let's see here. All suited kings down to king jack, along with possibly some of these, just to. It doesn't have to be these. So you could do like king 7, king 8, king 7, king 6. Just something as kind of like a protection. I think we would be raising like down to like ace jack. I think ace jack offsuit. King queen I think gets raised here, 3-bet. I think we're gonna throw in some hands like queen 9, jack 9. I think we're dealing some of these suited connectors and suited one gappers there. We're probably doing some of those, maybe the small pocket pairs, because they don't necessarily play well. I mean, I think you're getting the idea. We're trying to 3-bet a wide range while at the same time kind of protecting ourselves. So you've got all of these weaker hands that would benefit from them just folding. I mean, we'll take that. But at the same time, if they call, we do have some equity. I mean, yeah, this isn't great equity with king 5, king 6, king 7, but the suitedness helps. I didn't know if he was going to do that, so what I did is I just kind of defaulted back to my calling range here. And if you notice that in my previous range, I had 7s as part of like a calling range. We're going to call with those medium cards. So, while we might not have the straight potential or flush, while we might not have the straight potential with a bunch of middle cards on the flop, we do have, trip potential. So this is going to be my calling range, and I did call. So this is my pre-flop range. I'm 11.8%. I've got 156 combos. This player has these hands. And the combos is 414. So we see a flop of 10-9-4 with 2 diamonds. 10-9-4. My range is 52.7 versus his 47.3. So we're ahead. And question is, what do we do? Should we lead? Should we donk? I don't really like donking because you're gonna have to donk with both strong hands and weak hands. And if you think about like his range, if we lead, I do think he's gonna be calling with some of these top pair, middle pairs. I think on this board he might. I don't think it necessarily matters a whole lot. I think he's gonna call with the same hands that he bets with. So I think, I think all of these pocket pairs, he's probably gonna call. Bottom pair is questionable. Maybe I think these two are questionable. Maybe he calls. Maybe he doesn't. But I kind of feel like he's gonna bet those. I think the middle pair is probably gonna bet. I think flush draw is gonna bet. Open and straight draw is gonna bet. I think that's gonna call. The gut shots are probably gonna bet. And if he's playing this wide range, he may actually call once just to see what I do on the turn. We could assign a weighting on it. The combos are coming along, so you're looking at 60.4%. It's possible he might bet with a wider range, something like including overcards, so like ace king, ace queen, maybe king queen, just as kind of like a bluff, which winds up his range considerably. So if I were to bet, what hands am I going to bet? Well, we should have a mix of both value hands and bluffing hands, and I'm not sure if I could have a betting range along with a check calling range and have enough of these hands. So I don't think we like for the overcards. I don't think you really want to have the ace jack because that's going to cut into how many of those ace kings he's going to have. He would have bet those versus and just probably folded to the bet. I mean, we could bet the straight, we could bet the flush draw, but if we think about what cards could come on the turn, if he calls, I think an overcard, jacks, queens, kings, and aces, isn't going to be that great. I don't think we're going to really like a diamond. I mean, you look at our flush draws that we have, it's not like we have a huge percentage of them. Now we could scale it so about half our hand has flush draws and straight draws, and that helps. I'm not sure if we're gonna like betting, and then if we check on the turn because we didn't connect with our draw, our life could we might hate life when he bets the pot. So I kind of think we're gonna be checking 100% and then calling versus a c bet. I think we're gonna be calling. We're going to take care of that. I think we're going to be calling our top pair hands, our middle pair hands, our pocket pair below. I think we could call twos and threes if we think he's bluffing with that. I like these middle cards, 5, 6, 7, 8s, because we do have, with 7s and 8s, you have the possibility of picking up more equity. If like we have 7s and an 8 falls or a 6 falls, I mean we could pick up a gut shot draw. So I kind of think we can call that as well as protect against all of the times he bluffs with air at this point. So I think we're going to check call those, and then I think we can check call our gut shots probably. Let's get rid of those. We can pick those out. I think we're going to check with our gut shots. Add that. And then I think probably check call with the open-ended straight draws. I think that's going to be our check calling range. Our check raising range will have the sets and two pairs in it, along with the flush draws. So you can see with the check raising range, we're going to have 8 total, so 6 and 2. That's our value, and then our flush draws are going to have 8 in them. And I crossed them out because I don't want... I think the queen jack of diamonds, the open-ended queen jack of diamonds and 10, let's see here, queen jack of diamonds for the open-ender. That's a great check raising range. Maybe even the queen jack, let's see here, maybe even like the king jack, with the gut shot. I think we have great opportunities to check raise those flush draws. So I kind of have, that check raising, and I think it balances. So, if we had 8 versus 8. It was about 50-50 for a check raising range. And I think that would be a pretty good balance. So what happens here? I do check. He bets. He bets actually rather small, 2.5, and I think that's going to keep a lot of people in. Is he going to? I kind of feel like he would have bet his overcards a little bit higher, but again, we don't know. We don't know what he's doing, so we're going to say maybe he's doing this 100% of the time. Um, and that is just his pattern, is to bet smallish, as a c bet, and then increase the size on turn and river. um, Again, we don't know how he's going to play. In general, though, I think the small size typically excludes the sets, two pairs, and over pairs, and normally top pair type hands. um, and that leaves most everything else. We'll leave in the flush draws, open enders, the gut shots. Um, we're going to X those out. And I think we covered everything with that. So it includes like the overcard. No made hands include the overcards and so forth. So I kind of think he's going to be betting that range. And when he does make that bet, we should be ahead of quite a bit of it. At least our calling range. Our calling range here should be ahead of quite a bit of it. So he bet. I like the call. I don't really have a hand that's part of my check raising range, so I called, and that was 68.6% of my range and 137 combos. So I'm still ahead. Two spades. Now, had I check raised, um, I think at this point we're going to have to probably check some of our draws, because this card does not improve our fold equity. It doesn't really change the board. So I think some of our draws are going to check. So out of those 8 hands, I guess betting is probably easier. The hands that we're going to bet are going to be those big hands, the open-ended straight draw with the flush draw. So the queen, jack of diamonds, I think we're going to be betting. That's one hand, one combo. And I think you could probably do like king jack as well. So get 2 combos of those. And then I think you're going to be doing, you're going to bet probably trips, probably the set, which would be 10s and 9s. No, just 9s and 4s probably. So we'll have more value than we have draw in that hand, but I would continue betting those, and I would check a lot more. So even my 2 pair, I would check here, because that helps to protect against our flush draws. So if we check, we're out of position, and now he fires out a bet because just shoves. 2 pair allows us to call, and I kind of think like with the trips, if we had trip 4s, I think I would probably call. I think 4s are one where we could check call, turn those into a check call, and guard against that bluff. Kind of protects the rest of our range. All right, that was a tangent. That doesn't change anything. We're going to still check 100% of our range here. The idea is if we check here, we're going to probably call top pair. I think I think we're going to have to call the middle pair as well, but I think we're going to have to give up a pocket pair below the second card. And as far as the open-ended straight draws and gut shots, it's going to be whether or not we call depends on the odds that we're getting, because at this point, if he bets, my suspicion is that he probably has a pair. He may have just overs. He may have jack queen himself or king jack himself, maybe have diamonds. So we'll just have to see like what the odds are. That the pot odds that he's giving us. So we check, and then villain 5 checks. Now I think that further narrows his range. So we're gonna get ours here. Oh, the turn was 2 of spades. So our range's equity was 57.8 versus theirs was 42.2. So our turn range was 100% of our previous range. We have 94 combos. Their range, so once he checked, we're definitely excluding the sets. I think we will include the middle pair hands, probably all middle pairs, all of these weak pairs. I kind of feel like a lot of people bet the flush draw and the open-ended straight draws. So I think we can exclude those. So that's, 99% of hands. Actually, we're going to X those out so that he doesn't have those in his range. So 86.7%. I kind of feel like that is his range at this point. He had the opportunity to bet to try to get me to fold, especially if he had the flush draw or the open-ended straight draw, but he chose not to. I might be wrong. Maybe I'm too optimistic and think that he's willing to bet those hands, and maybe he still has them. Maybe he checks them. I mean, he does have a lot of flush draws, including like 5, 6, 7, 5, 7, 6, and so forth. But I kind of feel like most people are just going to bet again on their draw. They took the C bet, they're going to bet again and hope that I fold. So let's go to the river. Ace of Hearts. And of all of them, I think this is my least favorite. Because if he was playing some sort of ace X hand, ace king, ace queen, if he c-bet that, now this ace got there and our range just took a huge hit. And you can see it. I think he had a bunch of aces in there. So at this point, I think two pair we could bet. I think it comes down to, do we think he's going to bet more often, bet with more hands, and he would just call. And I think if he bets, he's going to probably bet two pair, probably bet top pair. I don't think he's going to bet weak pair or nothing. And if I bet, I do think he's going to call with a top pair and two pair hands. So I don't really see much of an advantage to betting. If he has a weak pair, I mean, yeah, we could probably get him to fold, but he may also look at it and say, "Oh, we're playing the scare card," and he's going to call to bluff catch. I'm not sure if it would be wise in this case to attempt to bluff. We'd have too many weak pairs in our range, and of course, if we do that, we would bet our two pair hands. So 10 combos, and then we'll probably pick up, probably do one of these weak pairs. 5, 6, 7, 8s, 10 hands. Maybe, bet all of the 5s as a bluff because he has those weak pair hands, 5, 6, 7, 8s. And if we bet with the 5s, we're hoping that he folds 6s, 7s, 8s, try to get a little bit of equity out of that. But I checked, I believe. Yep, I checked and villain 5 checked. So when villain 5 checked again, I don't think he has two pair. So he shows queen 9. Of course, I showed 7s. Did he have queen 9 in his hand, in his range? No, I didn't. I guess the weak pair would hit. So it's queen 9 offsuit. So I didn't have that in there. So if he raised with queen 9, he's probably raising a much wider, like steal range here. Maybe even something like that. And now that 9's still in his range, the king 9, queen 9, jack 9. If I bet, do I think he's going to fold? If I bet one of these pocket 5s, do I think he's going to fold that hand? No, probably not, but he could. He might give us credit for a 10 and fold it. So I think two pair we bet along with one of these weak pair hands, and probably the weakest one, pocket 5s, and try to turn it into a bluff, try to get him to fold. Maybe we bluff even more with how it plays out. He bet, c-bet, and then we called. I mean, it's consistent. I mean, a lot of people play suited aces, so I mean, maybe we missed out on a big bluff here that would have allowed us to pick up the pot. So that's the other thing, just kind of the player pool against a player that I've played against and know. I mean, it's possible, but at the same time, I'm also thinking it's kind of risky not having the ace myself because I do think he's going to see bet. I think a lot of people see bet ace king, ace queen hands, uh, and then shut it down because they don't have anything, and now they catch the ace, and hey, now I have my ace. So I think it's kind of risky, um, hoping that he didn't have an ace. I mean, look at that, 31, almost 31% are aces. Um, all right. Hopefully you like this. If you do, look tomorrow for another.